All right, next up, we've got a Big Ten matchup on Friday night, Iowa and UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Iowa, 6.5-point road favorites. Total in this game sitting at 44.5, pretty much across the board. I can't believe I'm saying this with an Iowa game, but maybe I shouldn't be shocked anymore saying this because of the fact that the way things have trended for the Iowa Hawkeyes as far as totals are concerned. They're 8-1 to the over, but I think I like the over in this game. They have found something, believe it or not, with Brendan Sullivan at quarterback. I'm not saying he's great, but he's given them a pulse to finally some semblance of a passing game to complement Caleb Johnson, the great running back they have, which has been good to see. You know, he's put up some decent numbers. They haven't asked him to do too much, but he's not screwing up like McNamara did. So I think he's managing things well. We'll see if that continues here against this UCLA Bruins team. You look at UCLA, the one thing, in my opinion, that would concern me a little bit for Iowa is that UCLA's run defense has been pretty stout. Number 11 in the country, 100.4 rushing yards per game allowed. And Johnson's still a big part, the biggest part by far of what they do on offense, running the football with him. And if he gets neutralized a little bit by, and again, UCLA's run defense, their numbers are pretty solid. You know, that'll put more on Brendan Sullivan's plate at quarterback. Does he have the goods to get it done? Meanwhile, what's happened to UCLA in terms of they're playing a lot better and their offense has suddenly really picked things up. I thought a product of their offense improving was just, well, Rutgers is beaten up and decimated by injuries on defense. That's why UCLA looked so good on offense. But no, they backed it up against what's supposed to be, you know, a pretty decent Nebraska defense on the road. And Garber's had a very efficient game, 219 through the air, 2 touchdown passes. He got his receivers, Matavau and Gilmer involved. You know, he even ran 56 yards with the football as well, Garbers from the quarterback spot. And he's progressively improved here these last few games. Iowa taking the long trip from Iowa City out to the West Coast. UCLA been a bit of a undervalued machine. They got off to such a bad start, and everybody soured on UCLA so quickly early in the season after, you know, not looking good against Hawaii, blown out by Indiana. And ever since those first 2 really bad games, and we're finding out getting blown out by Indiana is not a bad thing anymore. Because look at what Indiana's doing. They've been a freight train. So even that loss, you know, it's looking like a much better loss now for UCLA, getting blown out at the Rose Bowl by 29. Since then, 5-1 against the spread. And their only non-cover was against Minnesota in a game they lost by 4. So I'm tempted to take UCLA here at home, plus the points, and dare Iowa to cover a number like this away from home. And I lean over the total. These are 2 surprisingly improving offenses right now. C-Mac, what do you think?
I think this line here is pretty sharp because I would be all over this if this was 7.5 with UCLA, but it's not. It's 6.5. Yeah, everything's looked really good for them. You hit on it too. And then one other key with UCLA is, yeah, Garbers plays like that, they're going to be in it. Like, he just can't have a horrible game at all. If he does, you know, they don't cover in this game. But if he's playing like he has the last couple, I mean, you went in there. We see Nebraska, not who they were. We threw that out in the beginning of the year. Again, all that hype, especially early on. But yeah, if they could, you know, run the ball. You talked about the tight end. The receivers have been well. We'll see. Can the UCLA defense, that's so great last year stopping the run, and then pretty good this year, playing the hardest schedule, or top 5 schedule out there, has kind of worked for the man when they've had to play these teams. Iowa's better, but can they go into the Rose Bowl and win here by a touchdown? I don't know. And on this total with them, maybe this is finally one I'm interested in, which I haven't wanted to be in more. I've been on an over or 2, is maybe the under in this game. Like, maybe, you know, right around 45. It's moving up finally. We talked about last week. These numbers were at 40, and Locke was awful. I mean, he had some bad picks.
He was.
He just had one of those horrible games. Yep. And when you have it, when you look at it, even, you know, in the NFL, some of these colleges, it's just horrific games where there's like 4 turnovers. It never drove me more nuts It seems like especially the last month
Yep.
now that I've been on a bet with a team that just crumbles. It's been awful. So yeah, I think this game's tight, and I lean under.
All right, UCLA and under. I'm UCLA and over with my leans here with Iowa and UCLA. All right.